Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. I am actually Kirana Syfa, one of the participants in the National Schools Debating Championship competition. First of all, thank you to the jury for giving me this opportunity. Today, I stand as an individual in opposition to the motion. This council will decriminalize victimless crimes. The term victimless crimes does sound mild. He refers to illegal acts that supposedly do not harm anyone directly, such as gambling, drug use, or prostitution that are carried out on the basis of consensual behavior. But I want to invite you all to look deeper because even though it seems like there are no victims, that doesn't mean isn't not damage. In fact, behind these actions, social, psychological, and even structural impacts are hidden which slowly but surely harm individuals and society. And this is the basis for my approval of this motion. Often people consider drugs and gambling as personal choice, but what is not visible is the slow collapse of quality of life. I'll give you an example. A worker in Jakarta who initially only used methamphetamine to relieve stress eventually lost his job. His family was destroyed, and he started stealing to feed his addiction. Is it really victimless? I believe that when an individual is damaged due to harmful personal choice, society suffers the consequences, and the state must not let go just because the perpetrator initially agreed. This motion also touches on prostitution. Many say is it a free choice, but in reality, freedom is often false. For example, the case in Batam in 2023, where a human trafficking syndicate posed as legal job recruiters. Youngers were promised work in cafes, but were sold into prostitution rings. They initially appeared to agree, but in the end, they become victims of a cunning system. If prostitution is simply decriminalized, the state will lose legal tools to take action against perpetrators of exploitation who hide behind the mask of legality. Legal means accepted, and that acceptance creates the perception that an action is safe, normal, even worth trying. For example, in the Netherlands, the legalization of marijuana is being monitored, but the effects are still felt. There is an increase in consumption among teenagers and uncontrolled drug tourism. The state ultimately had to reimpose restrictions because the impact was widespread. We cannot allow young people to grow up in an environment that believes that gambling, taking drugs, or selling one's body is part of normal freedom. Because when values are damaged, repairing them is much more difficult than simply making laws. I sent her not to judge anyone, but to remind not all wounds can be seen directly, not all damage can be calculated in numbers, and not all consent areas form entirely free choice. Discriminalizing victimless crimes is not the solution. In fact, it will be an entry point for wider damage. Therefore, I reject this motion. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.